Hey everybody, it's Steven with Keller Williams. I wanted to kind of go over one of my old classes today because I know that all of our schedules are a little bit crazy and we can't always make the classes at the Market Center. And as you all know, Zoom can be a hit or miss with trying to get the authentic experience. So I figured I'd dip back into one of the classes that I did about 2 months ago and just kind of do a video on it. Covering all the same content, maybe not as exciting, but at least giving people who haven't been able to attend the class some insight. Okay. So this class is called Branding, Connecting, and Engaging. It's a very practical look at why branding can be important for you. Disclaimer, if you don't know what you're doing, it won't matter. Don't necessarily focus on the branding until you kind of are in your groove a little bit. It is important, in my opinion, to look good on social media and whether it's a magazine or a newspaper. I think brand and appearance is important, but it's definitely not everything. And if you don't have the street knowledge of real estate and how to actually conduct business, then it can only help you so much. So it's best paired up with experience and once you've kind of hit the ground running. Move on. What's the relevance, right? So my generation, we grew up with media in our hands all the time. So you have to keep that in mind. We are always exposed to high level content every day, whether it's a commercial, it's a cartoon, it's a movie, a Netflix show. We are surrounded by entertainment. We're consumers now more than ever in our lives, right? So it's not everything, as I said, but it does matter. And in this market, you're going to want every possible advantage, okay? Like it is stabilizing out a bit that it does seem that way. But no matter what business it is, you need to make sure you have some kind of edge or that you're pulling out every stop that you can to put yourself ahead of that person next to you. That's just a hard reality. So I'm gonna move on. This is from an old market report, and I will say that some of these trends for Orange County are pretty similar compared to a couple of months ago over the summer. But this was showing at the time how substantial the changes were compared to last year. And you see that the days on market was literally cut in half. Okay, the average sales price about 15% higher. And then we have the inventory is down 37%. Now that was in July. This is just for single family homes. But the idea of this slide was to give people perspective that you need to make sure you're doing whatever you can to be successful because this is a business, right? You're an entrepreneur. That's hard enough in itself. So why not give yourself the tools to be successful, right? So how do we improve the brand? How do we improve the platform? This is a business, okay? What are you willing to do to invest in your success? The first thing for branding, get a good headshot. You guys that don't have, great headshots, it's totally fine. You don't need one, but this is a connection business, right? You are playing a contact sport every day. And if people recognize your face, they remember your face, they remember your voice. These are the small little things that could really put you a notch up when it comes to getting some more business. So pay the few hundred couple bucks for good headshots for like a nice session with a real photographer. It could be anywhere from $200 to $400. It could be cheaper. It totally depends on the skill level and the portfolio of the photographer. But trust me, I think it's important. If you're active on Facebook, if you're active on Instagram or YouTube, it's especially important. If you're an older agent and you're kind of settling down, maybe you don't need a new headshot. You already kind of got a referral business, and it's not necessarily necessary for you, right? You also want to develop a relationship with a photographer, okay? Because you want to make sure that, or at least some kind of media professional or editor or photo, an illustrator, someone like that who can kind of work with you to make sure everything in your business is being marketed right and looks good. We have a lot of tools with Command Designs. There's Canva that you can buy a subscription to, Photoshop, Adobe. There's so many programs you can use to really market yourself well. Of course, there are learning curves for some of those programs, but I can give you guys plenty of sites to use that will work just fine. And also, yeah, hire an assistant or utilize services to, again, help you with marketing or help you with branding. There are these sites right here are basically contracting websites for anything from a graphic designer to it could be print media, it could be digital, it could be a video just explaining a service, it could be anything, okay? Take a look out there. The internet's wonderful. It's full of a lot of great tools, and don't be afraid to search. Everyone's probably wondering, well, Steven, what does it really matter? Like, if I know what I'm talking about, is now it's going to bring in the money? I'm like, well, yeah, of course, right? As I said before, you need to make sure the experience and the knowledge is number one, right? But once you do have the experience and the knowledge, you're going to want to separate yourself because KW is a brand, right? But it's not everything. It's not, you need to brand yourself within KW, right? You need to stick out because saying you're from Keller Williams is not enough. They need to know your name, your first name, your last name, know a little bit about you, right? Have that actual connection. Listings are harder to get. Okay, so we need that connection. We need to make sure that we're leaving impressions on people. There's less houses to be picked. You need to stand out. Reputation and image are important. Okay, the more your face is seen and seen clearly, the more likely your name's going to stick, right? So the example that I used in this class was, if you look at these two cereal boxes here, what are you going to use? Some people, they say, they might joke around and say, oh, I'm cheap, I'm just going to go with the great value ones. For argument's sake, let's just say that you understand that Reese's Puff is a great brand. You know you like their cereal. It's high quality. Maybe it's $1 more, but you're going to pay for it because you respect it, right? You've had a reputation with it and relationship with it. You've been eating it a long time. You like the way it looks. You like the way it tastes. And the look is a big part of the box. And the name, the brand. So that was the example I was just trying to say is that really, what's the difference between being general and being specific? I'm going to keep pounding this into your head. It's not everything, but it is important. And I'm going to say this kind of going back to our values to sidestep. Knowledge, character, and persistence are equally important. And if you don't represent our character and our culture here, how good is your brand going to do? You need to make sure that you're staying true to yourself. Don't be someone you're not with your branding. Don't fake it. I mean, there is a saying, fake it till you make it. But when it comes to your personal brand and what you're putting out there, this needs to be as authentic as possible. So just make sure you're staying within Keller Williams culture and that you're staying true to yourself because that's the best chance of success is staying true to yourself. Talking about this briefly, I just want to talk about this because this is relating the MREA to what I've been talking about. You need to make sure you understand the models first, meaning understanding the business, understanding kind of how the lay of the land works before you get creative. But your potential is going to go through the roof once you understand the models, and then you work on the branding, and you really start getting more and more invested into your business. But what this model is saying, what the MREA says, is if you start with creativity without having any kind of real organization or structure in place, you're asking for failure. You're asking for an imbalanced system. You're asking for a headache, okay? So let's just make sure we understand things and that we've got our other T's crossed and our I's dotted, okay? Moving on. This is kind of talking about a similar aspect where we need to make sure that when we're working along in life, using those models, if we use the models, right, and we use them well, eventually we can improve the models or we can incorporate that creativity into that ceiling. So we can actually, we use the models with our natural ability, then we can break through. But if you start with creativity, you're just going to go back and forth and play ping pong. We want to make sure that we're using what we have and what we know works. So foundational models, and then we improve the models, et cetera, et cetera. So the point is don't get too ahead of yourself on the look or the marketing side of things. Just do the most simplest thing you could do is just networking and telling people you're an agent. And really, I wouldn't focus too much on the branding until you might have a lead or two anyway, right? Because you could spend a lot of money and it may not be as much as a benefit to you. So how is this adapted to branding, right? We need to make sure that we are doing what feels most natural, and we need to make sure we're using the systems and models that work. We don't need to make anything crazy. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We have the MREA book. We have the 8x8. We have all these amazing systems and ways to stay in touch with people. We have the organizational model, the economic model. We have all of these really solid systems that you guys have access to and can be coached on. But if you get those and you feel like you're ready to move on, then yeah, let's get creative. You guys can use command designs. I'm not going to do this right now, but if you go into command and you go to designs, you guys have literally your own little Photoshop in command. You already, command's full of so many resources for you. Why wouldn't you just go to designs and play around with it for a bit to see if you could save some money and use what's available to you? So in another video, I'll go over designs more, but take a look. If you guys have questions, schedule an appointment with me. This is going in a little bit more detail, showing what else you could do in here with the templates. You could do coming soon. You could do just listed. So if you had property photos of what you were dealing with, you could literally go on here and customize these templates, post them to social media, use them for a command smart plan. There are so many ways to really leverage this platform, and I just hope you guys understand that. It's really, really, really amazing stuff. So business, branding, and letterhead. So if you guys had a Facebook page, a YouTube page, these are banners that would be formatted pretty well for the top of the page. So on YouTube, it would format pretty good. Facebook, it would format well. If you guys don't want to make your own image or customize something, you can consider literally just using what's already on here. I really like the red KW banners. I think they look great. Just an idea. As always, there are guidelines. Now, if you have questions about this section right here, I actually would just pause this for a second. I'm not going to go over this. Pause it, read it. If you have questions, you can email Lori at kwcompliance.lori@gmail.com, and she might be able to give you some more clarity on it. All right? Moving on. Going to skip that because we kind of already touched on that. And I will talk a little bit about this, a YouTube channel. People do have success with it. I think it really depends on your personality, but if you feel like you're the kind of person that likes attention, or you like creating content and connecting with people, and you're just really big on that stuff, you honestly could really propel your business forward if you have the right kind of brand to it, the right message, you're being authentic, you're being steady with the uploads. That's the biggest part. It honestly could be great for you. So and have fun with it. You could have a really good track record of videos and maybe not a lot of views, but then out of nowhere you start getting popular, and then people see that you've been making videos a while and all that hard work paid off. So it works for some people. Keep it in the back of your head. Not going to watch these videos. If you guys want access to these videos, let me know. But you can literally go on YouTube and type in like real estate videos for neighborhoods, and these are just some examples of people vlogging or showing how they made money off of YouTube for real estate. This is my email signature, so I made this in a previous video. We're going to skip this. This is just showing you how you can do it in designs, which I can show you guys if you forget. There's the banner I was talking about, like an example of a decent headshot. And then, guys, what's stopping you? Okay, it's really easy to do. I'm here to help you, and if you guys have questions, I am always available to you. I'll send you my calendar. We'll put some time on there, and we'll get it done. Okay. Don't ever feel like it's too much or that you're alone. We're always here to help you. If you guys have any questions, you can reach me at 845-798-2494 or my email.